Mother does the unthinkable, intentionally driving a minivan with her 4 young children inside right into the Hudson River.
The vehicle was towed out of the water. The mother and 3 of the children were located inside the vehicle and were deceased.
But a 10-year-old boy survived, escaping out a window and swimming to shore.
He was obviously very shaken up, having a difficult time trying to explain what happened.
No one can understand what happened or why.
Tonight, Team 12 coverage of this Hudson River horror.
You're watching News 12 Westchester, serving Westchester and the Hudson Valley.
We begin tonight with the Hudson River horror. Good evening, everyone. I'm Janine Rose.
And I'm Brian Connie Bear. Tonight we know that 25-year-old LaShonda Armstrong fought with her boyfriend moments before driving her minivan into the Hudson River in Newburgh last night.
3 of the 4 children on board, ages 5, 2, and 11 months, all drowned along with their mom. But 10-year-old LaShawn Armstrong was able to swim out of a window to shore and then made it to a fire station to ask for help. It all started with the fight at 53 William Street in Newburgh and ended less than a mile away off a boat launch at Washington Street on the Hudson.
News 12's Carolyn Rowe starts our Team 12 coverage from there tonight. Carolyn.
Brian, as you can see behind me, balloons, candles, and other signs of sadness now sit on this pier where police say the young mother drove her minivan right into the Hudson River, killing herself and 3 young children.
Lord, give us strength to go through all the stuff that we're going through, Lord.
Family members pray together as they break down by the side of the Hudson River, lighting candles and bringing stuffed animals to the scene, remembering LaShonda Armstrong and her 3 children.
I love them, and I'm going to miss them.
LaShonda Armstrong intentionally drove the vehicle into the river.
Police say the 25-year-old mother drove her minivan right into the dark, murky waters of the Hudson around 8 o'clock Tuesday night, her 4 young children inside.
Investigation has revealed that all the children were inside the vehicle when it entered the water, but the 10-year-old child managed to escape.
10-year-old LaShawn Armstrong escaped out the van's window and swam to shore. A passerby found the child and took him to the fire department.
He's having difficulty speaking, of course, and just was repeating about the car being in the water with his mom and siblings.
A massive search got underway, but it was too late. LaShonda and her 3 children, 5-year-old Layden Pierre, 2-year-old Lance Pierre, and 11-month-old Lanana Pierre were already dead. The minivan found 25 feet off the shore.
This is a very difficult time. We are talking about a tragedy in this city that I would say is probably second to none.
Police say just moments before the mother took that deadly plunge, they were called by a concerned relative saying she had some sort of dispute with her boyfriend, Jean-Pierre. Now loved ones are mourning and praying for a 10-year-old boy who lost his mother, brothers, and baby sister.
Lord, look over her son, Lord, to remain his son. Let them all be with you, Lord Jesus. Let them all be with them.
Police do say they believe all the children were alive when that minivan took that horrible plunge into the river. The medical examiner's office has said that an autopsy has confirmed that all 3 children and the mother died of drowning. In Newburgh, Carolyn Rowe, News 12.
Carolyn, it is a horrible, horrible tragedy. Now we're learning more tonight about what may have triggered this horrific event.
That's right. Friends tell us the couple was fighting over possible affairs that LaShonda Armstrong's boyfriend was allegedly having with other women. News 12's Blaise Gomez continues our Team 12 coverage tonight of this Hudson River horror. She's at the family's apartment in Newburgh. Blaise.
Janine, neighbors say it was a volatile and abusive relationship and that Jean-Pierre had even been having affairs. A situation horrified neighbors here along William Street say tormented the young mother and became unbearable.
She found out a lot of secrets that he had.
This woman didn't want to show her face, but admitted to us she had an affair with Jean-Pierre. The 22-year-old claims LaShonda found out about other affairs too, and that Pierre threatened to leave her before she drove her car into the Hudson River, with all 4 children inside.
He was dealing with other girls in the streets while she was in the house taking care of her kids, working.
The woman says he verbally and physically abused Armstrong and at times wouldn't let her out of the house. City of Newburgh police say a relative called in a domestic dispute between the two just moments before the mom drowned herself and her 3 younger children in the Hudson River. Police say the relative told them she heard arguing in the background, but when cops arrived, no one was home.
It's very devastating. I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I'm actually really in shock.
Stunned neighbors say LaShonda was a great mom who deeply loved her kids. Police have spoken to Pierre about Tuesday's argument, but are not releasing any information about what happened or what might have led to the tragedy. Now, Janine, the Department of Social Services will not say if the only survivor in this tragedy, 10-year-old LaShawn Armstrong, is in protective custody. They will say, however, that they have been in touch with him and that he is thankfully safe. That's the latest here from the city of Newburgh. Blaise Gomez, News 12.
The part is that she regretted it at the last minute and wasn't able to save her children or herself.
The Newburgh mother who drowned herself and 3 of her children in the Hudson River may have had second thoughts, but it was already too late. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Connie Bear.
And I'm Janine Rose. Tonight, we're learning more about LaShonda Armstrong and her final moments. Turns out she even sent out a last-minute apology on Facebook. About a half hour before the deadly plunge Tuesday night, Armstrong posted these ominous words, quote, "I'm sorry, everyone forgive me, please, for what I'm going to do. This is it." News 12's Kim DeVestia spoke to the Good Samaritan who found the only surviving child from that plunge. Kim.
Janine, Maeve Ryan says LaShawn Armstrong blamed himself for not teaching his younger siblings how to swim, but she says the 10-year-old was actually very courageous. Ryan says the details are so awful, she's been trying to put it out of her mind.
He was just basically saying, help me, waving his hands, screaming, somebody please help me. And he was just, the fear in his face, I'll never get out of my head at all.
Maeve Ryan still reeling from her encounter with LaShawn Armstrong. The New Windsor woman was driving on Water Road Tuesday when she stopped for the 10-year-old who was shivering and soaking wet on the side of the road. Ryan took him to the Newburgh Fire Department for help. Emergency crews rushed to the waterfront where LaShawn's mother, 25-year-old LaShonda Armstrong, had driven their minivan off a boat ramp and into the Hudson River with her 4 children, ages 10, 5, 2, and an 11-month-old baby, all on board. LaShawn told Ryan the chilling story.
They said my mom was upset over my stepdad cheating on her, so she put us all in the car and drove us. It was driving and she was speeding in the car.
Armstrong intentionally drove the van right into the frigid water. As the vehicle was sinking, LaShawn was in the passenger seat and his mother told him to get in the middle row with her and the other children.
She held them all very tight and said, if I'm going to die, you're going to die with me. And that's when LaShawn was like, Mommy, what are you doing? What are you doing? Please stop, please stop.
Ryan says LaShawn got loose from his mother's grip and was able to escape from the vehicle through a window that was already half open. He told his mom he was going to get help, just as LaShonda Armstrong had second thoughts.
Before the water completely submerged the car, she said, I'm making a mistake, oh my God. And she went into the driver's side of the car and tried to reverse out. But at that time, it was too late.
In the end, 10-year-old LaShawn was the sole survivor.
The sad part is that she regretted it at the last minute and wasn't able to save her children or herself.
Now, as you can see, this memorial with balloons and stuffed animals is still growing. People have been stopping by throughout the day to pay their respects. Meantime, a candlelight vigil will be held tonight right here on the waterfront in memory of the victims. We'll have much more on that later on. For now, we're in Newburgh. Kim DeVestia, News 12.
A devastating tragedy, Kim. Thank you very much for that. Well, the heartbroken Armstrong family is making funeral arrangements tonight for all of the victims.
Yeah, they also say there were some signs that something was wrong with LaShonda, but they never thought she would do the unthinkable. News 12's Mia Toski continues our Team 12 coverage of the Hudson River horror tonight.
Just her kids. That's all it's about. They're not going to come back. A heartbroken brother trying to make sense of the senseless. Lenny Armstrong is the brother of LaShonda, the young mom who drove her van into the Hudson River Tuesday night, killing her 3 youngest children. On the second day of mourning for Newburgh, many say there were signs she was troubled. On the day of the murder-suicide, she picked her children up early from daycare.
Well, it was unusual because it was 11:30. She usually picked them up a little later than that. Something may have been bothering her, but each time we would reach out and ask her if everything was okay, she would say she was fine.
Recently, LaShonda removed her boyfriend from the pickup list, meaning he had no parental rights, says the daycare director, Desiree Watson. And then there were the apologies. In the past week, we're told she apologized to family and friends repeatedly.
Randoms, apologies, out of nowhere, I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what was the cause. I don't know anything. I just want closure.
What's most troubling is that 1 hour before LaShonda drove into the river, there are now reports that she made a Facebook page saying, "I'm sorry for what I'm about to do." But according to her 10-year-old son, the sole survivor, his mother may have had second thoughts. The crime has many forming polarized opinions. Is LaShonda a criminal or was she mentally ill? Reverend Helen Lindsay says now is not the time for debate, but of unity.
No judgment, because the city is hurting now. Everybody. Makes no difference what nationality, what race, what color. We're all hurting.
And the city is coming together. There are plans to raise funds for LaShawn, whom everyone is praying for. In Newburgh, Mia Toski, News 12.
She was their mother. No matter what happened, she gave birth to them children.
A heartbreaking goodbye to the Newburgh mother killed in the Hudson River horror, but her family says the farewell should have included her 3 children. Hello everyone, I'm Tim Cassidy.
And I'm Suzanne Colucci. Janine and Brian have the night off tonight. It was an emotional goodbye today to 25-year-old LaShonda Armstrong. Her family is still trying to come to grips with why she drove into the Hudson River, killing herself and her 3 youngest children. And they say even in death, the mother and the children should not have been separated. News 12's Lisa Reyes is at the First Baptist Church in Spring Valley with more on this day of mourning. Lisa.
Well, Suzanne, this is the church LaShonda Armstrong was baptized in. Today, her life was remembered. Her casket stood alone in the middle of the sanctuary, surrounded by pictures and flowers, the sounds of gospel music you can hear from out here on Hoyt Street. The pastor said of her 3 children, even though they are not here, they are together.
I don't know what happened, but she was just always happy.
But April 12th, LaShonda Armstrong's demons were too strong to overcome, posting an ominous Facebook message and loading her 4 children into the family minivan. Driving just 6 blocks from her Newburgh home, she took a deadly plunge into the Hudson River. Her 10-year-old son, LaShawn, the sole survivor, braving his mother's screams, hit the power windows, escaping the van and swimming to shore.
Don't thank me. I said I was at the right place at the right time.
Maeve Ryan took LaShawn to safety. Thursday, she arrived at First Baptist Church in Spring Valley to see him again as the child buried his mother. The humble woman says she has a message for LaShawn.
LaShawn, I will always be here for you, and I apologize for not doing more than I could.
Inside the church, LaShawn was surrounded by family, his mother's casket by flowers and balloons bearing the names of her other 3 children, Lance, Landon, and Leanna. All perished that night, but the mother's service was not shared with her children, a last-minute move by their father, Jean-Pierre, who was a no-show at the church and wanted to bury his children separately, angering family members, turning the tragedy into controversy.
I am disappointed because at the end of the day, no matter what happened, those are her children. So the funeral plans was already planned for her to lay at rest with them, so nobody should have changed them.
Whatever she was going through, nobody really knows. But on the same token, today was the day that everybody was supposed to be laid to rest.
And when Newburgh authorities recovered the minivan from the murky Hudson River, it was in reverse. Armstrong had changed her mind at the last minute, but it was too late, leaving so many mourners here today with so many questions that may never be answered. Reporting from Spring Valley, Lisa Reyes, News 12.
It was a day to remember 3 young children whose lives were cut short when their mother drove into the Hudson River. But the sorrow was overshadowed by anger because the father of the children decided not to bury them with their mom. News 12's Lisa Reyes is at the Alfonso Brown Funeral Home in Spring Valley, where these 2 sides tried to come together. Lisa.
Suzanne, one family member said you can cut the tension with a knife. Here at the Alfonso Brown Funeral Home, the drama unfolded like a Shakespearean tragedy with two families on each side of the building. LaShonda Armstrong's cousin said that her son was escorted off the premises, manhandled as he was escorted off the premises. And as the children were laid to rest today, the family's rage continued on, fueled only by the grief everyone here felt. Two families torn apart by tragedy. Monday, the funeral service for the most innocent victims, a white hearse with the word eternity written across the window, arrives here at the Alfonso Brown Funeral Home in Spring Valley. But only those invited were allowed inside as IDs were checked against a guest list.
There's people that can't get in and they feel upset. Yeah, there's no room inside. While staying outside the whole time.
The division, separation even in the parking lot as anger and emotions overflow.
I don't care! We're standing outside while they're escorting his side of the family inside. We matter. We're somebody.
Gwendolyn Green is LaShonda Armstrong's cousin, the 25-year-old Newburgh mother who drove her minivan into the Hudson River with her 4 children packed inside back on April 12th. Armstrong's 10-year-old son survived, no doubt traumatized by the last images of his family. He did not attend the service to say goodbye to his brothers Landon and Lance and his little sister Leanna. Mourners wore pins with their photos and ribbons bearing their names, the white caskets carrying their delicate souls, the baby girl dressed in white, her 2 brothers in suits.
It's sad just looking at them knowing that, they're just gone. They're not here anymore. And they're beautiful.
Armstrong's rocky relationship with the children's father, Jean-Pierre, wearing sunglasses as he entered the service, forced her to make a deadly choice, one she may have regretted. The minivan recovered from the murky waters of the Hudson was in reverse. Pierre's last-minute choice to bury the children in a separate service in a cemetery 14 miles away from their mother turned the day of remembrance into mere heartache.
I feel very sad. I feel very sad.
And Jean-Pierre was invited to LaShonda Armstrong's funeral service on Thursday. He did not show up. We did speak with his half-sister who offered her condolences to the Armstrong family. We're told the Alfonso Brown Funeral Home holds about 70 people, and 40 of the mourners today were from Pierre's side of the family. 18 were from Armstrong's side of the family. Reporting from Spring Valley, Lisa Reyes, News 12.
Lisa.